Welcome everyone to December 13th regular Town Council meeting. I will start this off with take a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Thank you, Councillor Bullock. All those in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes. Councillor Lemko. Any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, so we're going to move right into our supplemental correspondence.
I'll be taking this one, Your Honor, Your Worship. This is a letter dated December 3rd, 2021, to His Worship Timothy McPhee, Mayor of Town of Vegreville. Dear Mayor McPhee, thank you for your November 3rd, 2021 letter regarding the request for a time extension to complete the Town of Vegreville's playground upgrade through the Municipal Stimulus Program project. I reviewed the new information and appreciate the challenges that you are faced with the project. As such, I am pleased to approve your request for a time extension. The MSP funding for this project must be expended by December 31st, 2022, as further time extensions will not be granted. Project reporting will now also be required in 2023. I look forward to learning of the successful completion of the project. Should you have any questions regarding the MSP program, please contact one of our grant advisors by mail or email. Thank you again for writing. Sincerely, Rick McIver, Minister.
Okay, I'll take a motion to receive and file on that. Councillor Berry makes the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. CN.
This is a letter from CN to His Worship Mayor Timothy McPhee. Dear Mayor McPhee, I hope this letter finds you and your family safe and healthy. I am pleased to enclose a copy of the CN in Your Community 2021 report. This annual report is one of the most important publications issued by CN and is sent to our stakeholders, community leaders, and elected officials across North America. In this report, you will find information describing our ongoing investments in the diversity, strength, and safety of communities all along our 19,500-mile tri-coastal network. It describes our various national, regional, and local initiatives and partnerships, and contains practical information on how we can collaborate with you and live up to our commitment of being a good neighbor to our communities along our network. This year's theme, Thankful to Be Your Neighbor, is a tribute to how CN and the communities across our network are essential to each other, especially as we face the challenges of the last year and a half together. Thank you for the trust you have placed in us as a true partner of your community. Should you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me or the CN Public Affairs Manager of your region. Our contact information appears on page 9 of the report. We look forward to collaborating and building stronger communities with you throughout the year. Sincerely, Sean Finn.
Thank you. Take a motion to receive and file. Letter from CN. Councillor Rudick makes the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Next up, this is Lagan's letter.
Okay, this next one is from Catherine Legan regarding snow removal concerns. Good day, Town of Vegreville Council. I apologize for the late submission of this. I am reaching out as a tax-paying citizen of Vegreville. My husband and I have been homeowners in Vegreville for over 20 years. I was a founding member of the Respect Vegreville Union Lead campaign, where the Town of Vegreville received national recognition. I love and choose to live in our community for a variety of reasons. I have raised my family here and have no plans to leave. I want to see our community continue to strive forward, promoting safety and wellness for all who live, work, and visit Vegreville. I have concerns about snow removal off the streets of Vegreville. The last few years I have noticed a decline in snow removal service around town on streets. I used to brag to other people from different communities about the great services the Town of Vegreville provided with snow removal to make our streets safe. The last couple of years, it appears snow removal service has become slower to remove snow off all common roads and less quality. As homeowners, we pride ourselves on ensuring our sidewalks are cleaned properly and long before the set 72-hour bylaw to help keep others safe. I understand why such a bylaw exists. I understand there are restrictions and limitations on what can be done for snow removal off the streets within our town based on many factors. I also believe safety of the roads is of utmost importance. Isn't safety for people on sidewalks why there is a 72-hour bylaw on snow removal? How do we keep people safe on the roads too? The reality is more people use the roads than sidewalks in town during the winter. I have been a licensed driver for 26 years and I drive daily. I am an experienced, defensive, smart driver who drives to the conditions. I know which are the main routes in Vegreville and stick to those as much as possible in town. I equip my vehicles with the proper snow and winter driving equipment. To date, the only accident I have had is a deer hitting my car in November 1999. On Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, the first snowfall of the year occurred and it was a doozy. It was heavy, wet snow. I avoided driving my car for several days to allow sufficient and reasonable time for the streets to be decently cleaned. My husband drove me to and from work in our truck. On the afternoon of Saturday, November 20th, I was driving to help a friend who was suffering a knee injury. She lives on the north side of Vegreville. I took the route which I felt should be safe to drive on the given the recent snowfall, as the fire hall and EMS were both located on this route. I drove north on 857 past the fire hall and turned east onto Birch Avenue just over the tracks. The corner onto Birch Avenue is a sharp one and does not have visibility of Birch Avenue until you physically turn onto it. Once I turned onto Birch Avenue, I immediately noticed it appeared there had been no snow removal done on this street yet from the initial snowfall, and that all of the other vehicles driving on it had created drifts and ruts, which made it an unsafe, dangerous, and destructible passage. I tried my best to control the car to avoid damage and/or accident. There was nowhere to turn back or off of it until the street that leads to the back of the Holy Trinity Church. That street was a little better. I thought I heard a noise, but with a snow-covered street, I wasn't sure if it was that or the car. Once I hit 50th Street, I turned onto it and confirmed the noise was coming from the bottom of my car. My car still appeared to be safe to drive, so I headed home. About a block away from home, my power steering stopped working. The car was taken to Vegreville Ford for further review. I have received an estimate from Vegreville Ford as attached in the amount of $3,528.77. The build-up snow and ice that wasn't removed in a timely manner on Birch Avenue ripped the skid plates off the bottom of my car and caused severe front-end damage along with steering issues. I don't believe this damage was caused because of any fault of mine. I have contacted my insurance company, who said it would be considered a collision damage claim with a deductible of $1,000. Such a claim would also increase my insurance coverage and price, and going forward, should I have another claim, continue to rise in price. The view of Birch Avenue is not visible until one is physically on it when entering from the west side of it. Had I been able to physically see it, I would not have entered on it with my car. Such visibility issues needs to be considered in urgent snow removal to prevent unsafe driving conditions. On Monday, November 22nd, I spoke to Dale from the town of Vegreville. My insurance company indicated we may need a copy of the snow removal schedule, and Dale kindly had Brad Mills email it to me. Please see attached. Dale indicated that it has slightly changed since EMS had moved from the fire hall to Birch Avenue, and that Birch Avenue had been cleaned on Monday, November 22nd. I couldn't understand why a main route with EMS located on it was the only property cleaned on day 6 after the snowfall. He indicated the snow removal routes were published by the communication department on a daily basis. To be honest, I've been driving in the community my whole life and don't know all the street names, and I'm sure most residents and drivers are the same. I would hope main and most common routes would all be done in a timely and reasonable time frame. I understand there is a priority list, but shouldn't the first priority to keep people safe in the roadway snow removal process? It was also the end of November and the first major snowfall, with no more in the near future. Dale had also indicated in our call that town council strive for zero tax increase. I do appreciate it as a tax-paying citizen. I also chose to live in town for services like snow removal off streets. Not kidding, but when deciding to purchase our forever home, that was my first requirement. Therefore, town living was the only place that fit my requirement. At what cost to cutting of services like snow removal do we strive to a zero tax increase? How much will that cost me now in damages to my car and future insurance rate hikes? Please see the attached estimate from Vegreville Ford to repair my car back to its state prior to driving on the uncleaned and not visible Birch Avenue on the afternoon of Saturday, November 20th, 6 days after the first and only major snowfall of the season. I'm hoping we can come to some agreement that will not continue to cost me unnecessary costs, where I don't believe there was a fault of my own. The major routes that see EMS, people commuting to and from school, work, medical, economic, and social aspects traveling on would be of utmost priority to have streets cleared of snow to be made safe in a timely manner. I think back to that day driving on Birch Avenue, and though I'm grateful that I wasn't hurt in an accident, I know I could have been had I not been able to control my car as well as I did on an unsafe, uncleaned road. Vegreville can and needs to be a safer, more inclusive community for all. I hope to hear from you as soon as insurance is wondering how to proceed. Thank you, Catherine Legan.
Okay, take a motion to receive and file the letter. Councillor Curtis, any discussion? Was anybody? No? Dale, can you give us an update? You've talked to Mrs. Leggett.
I did. I did speak with Mrs. Legan on the 22nd of November. She gave me a lot of the same sort of history that's in here. At that point, she had a damaged vehicle, but didn't know to what extent or what it would cost. So she was going to take it in and get it looked at, and then she was going to get back to me when she had more information. I did get a copy of this today, and I did contact her, as that's the first time I've seen this since our conversation. Our conversations are very, very good. She's polite. It was a good conversation. She was not liking the fact her vehicle's damaged, but we had a good conversation. She feels that the snow removal in days of past 15 years ago was far better than it is today, and that's her opinion, and that's fine. We did take the attachments that she applied to this email, and Paul forwarded it to our insurance company today. So I contacted Mrs. Legan, let her know that the next step would be that this request would go to our insurance company, and they would assign an adjuster that would start the process of seeing when the snow was removed and what's our routes and things like that. I did ask her about the two comments that I'm sure has come to your minds, especially at what cost to cutting of services like snow removal do we strive to a zero tax increase? And she said that was probably not the best choice of words that she could have used, because that's not what I said to her. I did talk about council striving to a zero tax increase, because we do, and that's when the conversation, which was lengthy as this correspondence was about more equipment, more resources, more trucks, more people to advance our snow removal. At this point, from our last meeting when our two new councillors joined, we were satisfied with the level of service we're providing for snow removal, and in order to maintain senior leadership and council's goal to run more efficient and still provide a good service was to try and maintain the zero tax increase. That was mentioned once in a lengthy conversation, so I seen it pop up. But I asked her about it, and she apologized to me 3 times, and she also offered that her phone number's here, and she says it sounds bad, so if any council wants to call and just talk to me about it, she'd be more than willing to explain how this came out as opposed to the fact that it's about new equipment, not us cutting back a level of service to maintain tax levels.
Okay, so just to clarify, you talked to her and she confirmed that you did not tell her that it was council's wishes to cut back in that way, in any way that we decided we were gonna do less snow removal.
Correct.
So that was, Dale did not indicate that to her in any, and of course, snow removal is not a line item in our budget. It's not something we budget for. It's something that we have rules in place and when it starts. I would like all taxpayers to understand that, because I've had quite a few calls, why can't they just go all night? I don't think people understand that they have other duties to perform in the day too. I mean, it's, our employees do many tasks, and we can't work them all night and all day. And we can't afford to hire people just for snow removal and then let them go and they'll hopefully come back the next time it snows. That's just not a way that we can operate. So I get it that she was frustrated, and it seems like, I mean, I owned a business for a lot of years on Birch Avenue, and I've never seen it go 6 days or whatever without getting cleaned after a snowfall, but, I mean, that corner does drift in there at times, and there's no doubt about it. There's other places in town that drifts in too, so. But I just want everybody to try to understand that it is an ongoing process to use the equipment and the manpower that we have, plus they have to perform their daily duties and other departments and stuff in town, like, not other departments, but other duties that they have, so. Councillor Rudick.
Thank you for clarifying some of the conversation. I think a couple things that stood out for me from there, and maybe this is something that we haven't obviously done with this council, but we have done previously, is establish a level of service based on a certain level of snowfall. And I wonder if it's worth sharing with the public again. I think one of the things that I've really appreciated with our communication process is being able to share those neighborhoods that are having snow removal, which I think has actually been very helpful. But I wonder if it's worth sharing the method and some of the explanations that the mayor just explained, as well as you, Dale, to be able to share with the public a little bit about the philosophy behind how we do our snow removal, because it's easy to assume that everybody understands and what affects some of the decisions that are made on the ground in terms of which roads are done when, and even something like the sanding, because I think it was important for people to realize previously when sanding was an issue, you can't just put sand on every day, that there are some things that limit the efficacy of that. So I would maybe ask that we share that information with the public, and I'll look forward to administration advising us of the resolution of this concern.
Okay, Councillor Bullock.
Yeah, I support Tanine, what she said there. I think that just getting the information out there again to the public would be great. Something that very simply put out there anyways. I've seen the guys doing a pretty good job with what they're dealt with anyways. There's a lot of snow fell in a short amount of time. Stuff gets hidden under snow too. You don't know what hazards exist under snow. You could run into a parking lot and something could have fell off a truck or something and like that, or a big block of ice fall off a vehicle. So you can't really control what Mother Nature throws at us, but but putting the information out there of the routes and what the criteria is would be fantastic. Thanks.
Well, as long as everybody understands that, no matter what, we have not ever decreased our level of service when it comes to snow removal. We have not ever looked at a budget and say we're gonna do less snow removal, because it's always determined by the weather. And we go as hard and fast as we can with, as long as we can with the employees that we have, and then they need to sleep, and they need to eat, and they need to take breaks. Plus, the everyday operations of the town are important. But in no way have we ever said that we are cutting any type of service when it comes to snow removal. We try to keep a very high level. Most municipalities our size don't take the snow away. So, Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I'd echo that part of it. I think the aspect is that during budget, we often say we were striving for a zero, but that's more in capital expenses and things that we would say are wants rather than musts. And when it comes to snow removal, garbage pickup, sewage, et cetera, the core services, we do not look at trying to cut those back to save dollars in taxes. The budget came through at a zero. If it had come through at 1 or 2, we probably would have approved that as well. The aspect is a few years ago, we actually improved what we were doing when it comes to snow removal, because we changed the policy that forbid snow removal on the weekends. And if we were to get a 6-inch or a 15-centimeter type packed snowfall now on a weekend, the snow removal would be out there and moving fast, because we changed that policy in order to try and give better service. So I don't think it is fair to believe that we are reducing services in order to try and save taxes. But we can't double our work staff or our equipment just to remove snow in either, because that would be cost prohibitive for a small town like this. I also recognize that damage to a vehicle is not fun. My car doesn't have very much clearance, and I know that that can be a hazard when you're driving around on some of these streets. I just came back from Edmonton yesterday, and believe me, their roads and the highway were just as bad as ours, so it's universal. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Lemko, then Councillor Curtis.
And this question's for Dale. Dale, when the first snowfall hits, we send out our crews for the priority streets. Now, while they're doing that, and we're getting some snow removed, and then we have another snowfall with rain and freezing, and it was a mess. Now, do we start back to the priority routes? Then we have a third snowfall this weekend. Do we go back to the priority routes? And the reason I say that is some cases residents have to wait until we can get our priority routes done so that they can eventually get to the spot that has 3 snowfalls on it. And then who knows what else is coming. So people have to be patient with the work that's being done to clear the priority routes. Does that make sense?
It does. Councilor Lemko, the Public Works Manager is tasked with evaluating. Our number one is we go to the priority list and start at the top. But you're right, instance happens where you could be into it for only a couple days and get another dump. So if the priority route that have just been cleared doesn't meet that 4-inch requirement, which is in the policy, we'll continue on our route. And if it's passing that, or it's rutting up, or it's getting dangerous, we'll go back to the priority routes, because they are the priority routes for a reason.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Curtis.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I'm happy Ms. Legan wasn't injured in her ordeal. I'd also like to say as well to the communication side, on the town website, we have some good reporting now as far as when snow removal is happening and where, and also I believe pictures of the routes highlighted.
The pictures unfortunately are not on the app, but they're on Facebook and Instagram and the rest of it.
So there is some detail as well for the
Sort of
routes.
interrupt, but we make darn sure that when Brad is putting the maps together, that when we have an aerial and a line drawn where snow removal is, that we can to put things like Elks Hall, Vegreville Ford, something that people are looking, oh, okay, now I know where I'm at. Because I get it, it's difficult with addresses if you live in a small community and don't use them much, it just is.
Right, thanks.
Okay, Councilor Warwick.
Sorry, I figured.
No problem.
Just had a couple of things here. Okay, so I would suggest that, kind of mirroring a little bit what Councillor Barry said, we certainly appreciate and strive for 0, but we had never said that we were close to that. We were talking about, we've never discussed cutting level of service. However, I do think it's fair that the average taxpayer doesn't know what goes on through budgeting, and I think it's a fair assessment if they're told that we strive for 0, that they would think that at all costs we make sure to cut. I think that's a very fair statement, and that is still what she got from there. We may never have said cutting, and she may have clarified that, but also she still took being told that there is a 0 as a cut, which I think a lot of people would. So I guess it is very fair that we're just stressing that we've never said to cut. It just happened to be that we might have ended up somewhere in a budgetary. But I guess the thing I would want to say is very much like Councilor Rudick said, I think revisiting this, but especially we have a new council again, I'm not suggesting we change our methods of snow removal, but it might be worth putting it on the table to have a discussion again about it, remind ourselves even as council what our priority routes are. I have had a lot of people come to me in the last 2 weeks, talk to me even about priority routes that they said didn't get completed all the way through from start to finish. I was spoken to about bus routes and stuck buses, and I've talked snow repeatedly this last couple weeks, or couple days. I think we had a crazy challenge in that we got the wet snow there, and we all know what happens. It makes it heavy, it mushes it down, people drive on it, and then it got cold. So it rutted up, and it was like having little concrete blocks under there. I've been asked multiple times, and I understand there's reasons why we haven't, but maybe again in future discussion so that we can get it out there to the public. Many people have said to me, we have a very high level of service in the fact that we remove our snow versus creating windrolls, but it has been suggested to me, would we think about when these conditions come about possibly creating some windrolls and then removing them, being able to get at more roads versus them being rutted up. So I just think maybe we do need to have a further discussion on it.
Okay, well, everybody had a chance, and again, I'll thank Mrs. Legan for her comments, and just as long as everybody knows that there was no efforts to cut any level of service, and everybody needs to understand that we only have so many employees, and to hire somebody for 2 days and then let them go again is not a policy that works. So hopefully the main arteries around town get done within 3 days, 3 to 4 days, and then we go into the branch off into the more residential areas, and that's our policy, and so that's where we're at. Thank you very much. Oh, we need a vote on the receiving file. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, up next, we have a letter from our MP.
Yes, this is from Shannon Stubbs, MP for Lakeland, to Mayor and Council. As a Member of Parliament for Lakeland, I am reaching out to municipalities to discuss and gather information on how the retroactive pay mandated by the recently ratified RCMP collective agreement impacts your community. I know that each community will be impacted differently based upon their size, and that dictates your payment requirement. In discussion and outreach with communities in Lakeland, the information gathered indicate that some will be tasked with funding large unbudgeted payments for a negotiation made by the federal Liberal government. I applaud the work being done by Lakeland communities to reduce budgets and attempt not to overburden your residents with tax increases. This is not an easy job, and especially at a time where you are receiving less provincial and federal funding. The addition of this retro pay is overwhelming many regions across the country, especially in rural areas. I have been working to raise awareness on this issue, and I'm very concerned about the downloading of this expense on municipalities that were not even consulted during the bargaining process. I understand that the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, FCM, is calling on the federal government to pay the lump sum and change the process for consultation. As your federal representative, I will continue to advocate on your behalf. Please share any information about the financial impacts on your community that will help my work to support your municipality. Information can be emailed to me at my office. Thank you in advance for your assistance. Shannon Stubbs, MP, Lakeland.
Thank you, Paul. Take a motion to receive and file. Councilor Berry makes the motion. Any discussion? Go ahead.
Well, the MP wished me to share with the public at the meeting that Vegreville had actually reached out prior to receiving the letter, and you're the very first community, so she said good on Vegreville. Prior to her email coming out, Vegreville had already provided it.
There we go. As they say, first to the trough. Okay, all those in favor, receive and file? Thank you, and thank you for the support from our MP in our ongoing struggle. Okay, next up, we have a letter from the RCMP.
Yes, this is from the Commanding Officer of Alberta, Mayor Tim McPhee. Dear Mayor McPhee, congratulations on your recent success in the municipal elections held on October 18th, 2021. Strong relationships and transparency with local governments and communities we serve are vital in fostering healthy, resilient communities that are safe for all citizens. I look forward to working with you and your colleagues as you advance your community's priorities during your term. Whether re-elected or newly elected, I am certain we share some very similar goals, and you are as eager as I am to support the citizens you serve. Communication and collaboration in our partnership will ensure we meet those shared goals. Please feel free to reach out to your local detachment commander or directly to Superintendent Dave Callis, the officer in charge of our Operations Strategy Branch, if you have any questions about how the RCMP serves your community. Additionally, you are always welcome to contact me directly. We welcome opportunities to answer questions and have discussions about the safety and security of Albertans. Once again, congratulations, and we look forward to supporting the community you lead. Yours truly, Curtis Zablocki, Deputy Commissioner, Commanding Officer, Alberta RCMP.
Thank you. Take a motion to receive and file. Councilor Bullock makes the motion. All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Sorry about that, everybody. Next up, we have a letter from the City of Cold Lake.
Yes, Your Worship, this is a letter addressed to the copy of a letter addressed to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta. Dear Dr. Scott McLeod, I'm writing on behalf of Council to inform you that at our regular Council meeting held on November 23rd, 2021, Cold Lake City Council passed a motion requesting that the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta consider streamlining the assessment process for physicians moving to Cold Lake from outside of Canada. Over the years, the City of Cold Lake has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on doctor recruitment and retention efforts. These efforts have been and remain one of our council's top priorities, as many of our residents in our community are unattached to a local family physician. Excuse me. It is our understanding that physicians moving to Cold Lake from outside of Canada must first complete an assessment at another healthcare facility prior to establishing their practice in our community. We understand that this process takes several months, after which the doctor is then oriented to the community and the local healthcare facilities and clinic at which he or she will establish a practice. We have great respect for the doctors in our community, and we are confident that among them there are several who would be willing and able to assist in this assessment process locally. Doing so, we feel, would greatly streamline this process for doctors who are new to Canada, preventing drawn-out orientation process and allowing for a smoother transition to their community. It is our hope that these assessments take place at the Cold Lake Healthcare Center by local physicians. If this is not a possibility, our council would appreciate the opportunity to learn more about the assessment process and would like to extend an invitation to speak with you about the process. This information will assist our council and our administration as we continue to work to support our local healthcare providers. You may reach out at your earliest convenience, or alternatively, you may contact the City of Cold Lake's Chief Administrative Officer, Kevin Nagoya. With warm regards, Craig Copeland, Mayor.
Thank you. Take a motion. Councilor Curtis moves to receive and file. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Rowe, start us up.
I'm just wondering, were we able to find out since we first heard about this letter, whether they are kind of looking for support from communities to change the overall process for everybody, or whether they are specifically looking at, asking for an exemption in Cold Lake? Were we able to find that out by chance?
I think what they're doing is looking for support from other municipalities for their direction they want to go here. So, go ahead, Councilor.
So I did reach out. Cold Lake is in the North Zone, which has, if you quickly Google Alberta Health Services zone maps, the North Zone is essentially the majority of the province, which additionally adds to the challenges that they have there, because Cold Lake is a city in a very vast area. All that said, I'll just do a quick explanation, and I believe I explained it last time, and maybe this is a little bit better because it came from medical affairs rather than me trying to poorly explain it. Alberta Health Services recruits the physician to provide services in a certain community. The physician signs a return in service agreement or contract. We do not recruit to specific clinics, just to communities, and the agreement with the physician and clinic are completely separate from AHS. And this is to counteract some of the challenges that there have been. For example, I'll use in a city where they might have a walk-in clinic that has a lot of money that could entice a physician to come to a walk-in clinic. Rather, the need is demonstrated and physicians are dispersed to various areas of the province. Alberta Health Services sponsorship form is forwarded to the CPSA, College of Physicians and Surgeons, for processing. Once the CPSA receives the sponsorship form, they work with communities and the physician to commence their practice readiness assessment, which is what Mayor Copeland is referring to. This consists of two parts, which are outlined in the CPSA, which is outside of AHS again. That's an outside bureaucratic process. The first thing that happens is a preliminary clinical assessment that must first be completed in a different community for 3 months, which is what I referred to for some of our physicians locally, or any that are seeking that assessment, as well as a follow-up supervised practice assessment in the community that they have been contracted to provide services for another 3 months. So once they've completed the out-of-community, they also are continuing to be supervised within the clinic in which they practice. So I'm not certain that we can circumvent that process because it's external to Alberta Health Services, but I have raised this concern as well as forwarded the mayor's letter to some of the individuals both in RPAP, Rural Health Professionals Attraction and Retention Program, as well as in Alberta Health Services Medical Affairs Recruiting, so that they could reach out back to the mayor and hopefully help him as well from that point of view.
Okay. So, any other comments? Is anybody looking to write a letter to the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta supporting them, or we're fine where we're at? Okay, all those in favor, receive and file? Carried. Thank you. You got this one, Phil, or? Or is this Parks and Rec?
This is a letter dated November 6, 2020 from Alberta Parks and Recreation Association. Dear Mayor and elected councillors, on behalf of the Alberta Recreation and Parks Association, ARPA, I'd like to extend my congratulations on your recent election to your municipal council. You should be proud of the passion and dedication you have to making your communities better places to live, work, and play. I would also like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our association. ARPA is a nonprofit, volunteer-run organization whose purpose is to collaboratively support our members and partners to create healthy citizens, communities, environments, enhancing the well-being of all Albertans. The majority of municipalities in Alberta are members with ARPA, especially those that have recreation and parks within their planning and services. Recreation and parks are the heart of our communities and often serve as the hubs for communities to gather and connect. In a recent study ARPA undertook, 77% of Albertans surveyed strongly agree that public recreation services are essential to their community, and over 95% believe that recreation and parks make a community a desirable place to live. Over the past 18 months, Albertans have reconnected with nature and the outdoors. This has led to both opportunities and challenges. Over the same period, the pandemic and changing restrictions has made it difficult to provide consistent, equitable, and quality recreation programs in our own indoor spaces. ARPA is here to help our municipal members more than ever to support our citizens and communities to recover and re-engage with the activities they have always loved or maybe just recently discovered. We are here to support your staff, volunteers, and community leaders. We're also here to help you as elected officials. I would also like to highlight the important role you have as a member of council to ensuring everyone in your community has access to affordable, quality recreation and parks experiences. If you or your council would like to learn more about providing leadership to the recreation and parks in your own communities, please contact us in regards to the Recreation and Parks for Elected Officials training we have available for both virtual and in person. We would also love to host you at our annual conference next October in Jasper. We will send you all invitations next summer once we have the program finalized. Once again, my sincerest congratulations on your appointment to council. We value the work you are doing to support the quality of life in your community, and we encourage you to reach out at any time with questions or simply to connect. You can contact our Executive Director, Steve Allen. Warmest regards, Heather Cowie, President.
Okay, take a motion to receive and file on that letter. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
This is a letter dated November 2nd, 2021. Attention, Mayor Tim McPhee and Council. Dear Mayor McPhee, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Council for the financial support of our committee in recent years. Your support has been invaluable to enable us to continue to recruit new physicians in our community. Our committee has been financially prudent with the dollars we have received. For your review and information, we have provided a copy of our financial statement for the year ended December 31st, 2020, and a copy of our budget, 2022 budget. We're asking the town for a continuation of support of $5,000 per year. Our goal is to continue to look ahead of future needs in our community for doctors and health professionals to ensure needs are addressed. We thank you for your continued support. Yours truly, the Vegreville Region Physician and Health Professionals Attraction and Retention Committee, Brent Bosser, CPA Treasurer.
Okay, I'll take a motion to receive and file. Councilor Ward makes that motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Paul, you're doing this one?
So, Your Worship,
Or Megan?
Megan is doing it.
Right, okay.
Okay, thank you. So we started the balance at the beginning of the month at $10,891,027. At the end of the month, we closed with $9,333,217. So that's a net change in cash of $1,557,810 spent. The major sources of cash were the quarterly GST refund for $94,400 and franchise fees for $93,531. Our major uses of cash this month were $51,400 for playground equipment, $671,820 for capital works project, Prosperity Lift Park Station for $181,900, and RCMP contract costs. These are the quarterly ones. None of the retro pay, $283,700.
Okay. Take a motion to accept the financial statement as presented. Counselor Rudick? Sure. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, so Phil, you have one more here?
Yes, Your Worship, this is a request for council decision. The topic is management of derelict structures in the town of Vegreville. The proposal to approve and authorize the management of derelict structures in the town of Vegreville. In the spring of 2021, Community Services contacted Brownlee LLP for a consultation and legal advice on the process for eradicating derelict houses in the community. The following process has been constructed based on the recommendation from Brownlee LLP. There's an attachment attached for the process. There are currently 5 homes that have been identified in the town of Vegreville as derelict structures under the Community Standards Bylaw number 17-2018 and require immediate action to remedy the problem. These structures present issues from being inhabited by squatters, cats, and varmints to being completely uninhabitable. The structures identified and require immediate action are 5521 51st Street, Lot 6, Block 9, Plan LXXX, 4781 49th Ave, Lot 5, Block 26, Plan 1966 AB, 480649 Ave, Lot 14, Block 18, Plan LXVI, 5702 53rd Street, Lot 16, Block 36, Plan XXX, and 5713 52nd Street, Lot 4, Block 21, Plan LXXX. The financial implications. There may be financial implications incurred through the process for remedying these structures. The town of Vegreville will transfer all associated costs back to the registered owner of the property, with the exception of legal and court costs that will need to be determined by the courts. The communication strategy, the process for managing derelict structures, will be posted on the town of Vegreville's website, and the registered owner of each of the above listed properties will be served with an enforcement order in writing via registered mail. Recommendations being made that town council authorize municipal enforcement to proceed with the enforcement action on the above listed properties.
Okay, looking for a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Barry, got that one? Any discussion? Okay, well, I think we all know we talked about this at the ledge, and this is becoming a problem, and people are squatting in these houses, cats are living in them and stuff, so this is the process, and it's all explained here, how it works. So the letters will go out. They'll have 45 days to get back to the town with their plan. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, Megan, you're back up.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is a request for council decision. The topic is transfer of funds from Fire Capital Reserve to Fire Training Center Project. The proposal to approve the transfer of $20,565.34 for the Capital Reserve Fire to the Fire Training Center Project. Background. Since 2016, the Firefighters Club has raised funds for the Fire Training Center. These funds were transferred to reserve each year from 2016 through 2020 and should have remained in the Fire Training Project. Financial implications. The transfer of $20,565.34 from the Capital Reserve Fire to the Fire Training Center Project will not have an operating impact on the town's current operations. Communication strategy. The Firefighters Club will be made aware of the transfer to the Training Center Project. Recommendation. Administration recommends council approve the transfer of $20,565.34 for the Capital Reserve Fire to the Fire Training Center Project.
Okay, looking for a motion on that recommendation. Councilor Lemko, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. You have another transfer carried forward here.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So this is a request for council decision for the transfer to carry forward operating reserve. Proposal, to approve the transfers to the carry forward operating reserve for use in 2022. Background, operating and capital funds have been set aside in the following reserves as part of the 2021 year-end process. These transfers from operating funds to reserve funds were not budgeted and therefore require council approval. Financial implications. An expenditure of $448,106 will be recorded in the 2021 financial records to transfer unexpended funds for the departments listed below to the carry forward operating reserve for use in 2022. Communication strategy. Senior management will be made aware of the reserve balances and the carry forward transfers. Recommendation. Town Council approved the transfer of $448,106 to the carry forward operating reserve for the departments listed in 2021 for the use in the 2022 budget year.
Okay, thank you. Take a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Rohrer makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Mr. Paul Casey's up next.
Yes, Your Worship, this is a request for council decision. The topic is the 2022 5-year capital plan, and the proposal is to approve the 2022 5-year capital plan. Background, after presentations by the directors of each department to Town Council regarding their respective proposed 2022 5-year capital plan requirements, Council and Administration held capital budget meetings to discuss and deliberate these proposed projects. The 5-year capital plan includes the 2022 capital budget and the capital plans for each of 2023 through 2026. The 2022 capital budget within the 5-year capital plan totals $13,882,000 and includes the following as listed. The communication is the 5-year capital plan will be made available on the town's website, and printed copies will be available at the town administration office. Financial implications, the 2022 capital budget is comprised of the following funding components: capital grants, $9,593,000, reserves, $1,803,000, tax-funded operations, $130,000, and debenture financing, $2,356,000, for a total capital budget of $13,882,000. Recommendation is Town Council approve the Town of Vegreville 2022 capital budget in the amount of $13,882,000 and accept the capital plans for 2023 through 2026 in principle as presented.
Okay, take a motion. Councillor Berry makes the motion for the capital 5-year capital plan. Move forward. Any discussion? We're all on the same page. Okay, all in favor? Carried. 3-year
Okay.
plan.
The next one is the request for council decision for the 2022 3-year operating plan, and the proposal is to approve the 2022 3-year operating plan. And the background is the planning for the 2022 3-year operating plan commenced in September 2021, culminating in presentations in November 2021 by the directors of each department to council regarding their proposed 2022 3-year operating plan. Council and administration held several meetings to discuss and deliberate the proposed 3-year operating plan and any changes thereto. The 2022 budget process considered the potential impacts of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic on town operations and expected reductions in provincial funding for the town's 3-year operating plan. During the budgeting process, administration worked with council to deliver a fair and balanced budget that included stable property taxes without causing a significant reduction of services provided by the town. The 3-year operating plan contains the 2022 operating budget and operating financial plans for each of 2023 and 2024. The 2022 3-year operating plan presented is the foundation for the municipality to implement business plans and priorities in 2022, 2023, and 2024. The 3-year operating plan includes the following key items for the 2022 operating budget. No change in the overall levy of municipal property tax levy compared to 2021. A 2.50 cost of living increase for in-scope employees after 0% for each of 2020 and 2021 at a cost of approximately $90,000. Capital purchase funded from operations of $308,000, of which $130,000 is actually funded from operations and the rest is funded from operating reserves. Transfers from reserves to fund current operations in 2022 in the amount of $669,885. And transfers to operating reserves of $217,500 to fund future operations. And transfers to capital reserves of $280,000 to fund future capital requirements. The financial implication is the 2022 three-year operating plan includes an estimated property tax levy of $9,196,345 for the municipal portion of property taxes, which represents no change to the property tax levy contained in the 2021 operating budget. Total revenues, including the municipal portion of property taxes and internal transfers, are $17,972,362, and total expenditures are $17,968,085, resulting in a surplus of $4,277 before amortization expense. Amortization expense is not an expenditure and therefore not included in determining the overall property tax level. However, it is an expense required to be included in the three-year operating plan. Amortization expense for 2022 in the three-year operating plan is $3,948,530,000 and results in a budgeted deficit including amortization of $3,944,260 for 2022. Communication is a three-year operating plan will be made available on the town's website, and printed copies will be available at the town administration office. Recommendation is that town council approve the Town of Vegreville 2022 operating budget contained in the 2022 three-year operating plan and accept the financial plans for 2023 and 2024 in principle as follows and as presented.
Okay, we'll take a motion for the three-year operating plan. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Paul. Okay, next one's mine. Proposal to appoint Director Paul Casey as interim CAO as of January 1, 2022. Proposed by me. The background: in October 2021, Town Council accepted the retirement notice of Town Manager Cliff Craig, effective December 31st, 2021. Recruitment efforts for a new Chief Administrator Officer began shortly after this announcement and are currently in the interview phase. There is to be an expected span of approximately 1 month to 2 months before the new CAO is hired and on board. So during this time frame, council is required to appoint an interim CAO. Corporate Service Director Paul Casey has been approached and has agreed to act as interim CAO until the successful candidate is in place or until February 28th, 2022. Communication strategy. A news release of this appointment will be posted on our website and social media channels. Recommendation that the Town Council appoint Director Paul Casey as interim CAO from January 1st, 2022, with the appointment ending when the new CAO is on board or on February 28th, 2022. Take a motion for that recommendation. Councillor Bullock, thank you very much. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. And who's doing the fees and charges? Megan? Okay, thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is bylaw number 11-2021. This bylaw number 11-2021 of the Town of Vegreville in the Province of Alberta to establish fees, rates, and charges for services provided by the municipality. Whereas the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M26, as amended from time to time, the Act authorizes the council of a municipality to pass bylaws for municipal purposes respecting the following matters: services provided by or on behalf of the municipality, the establishment of fees or licenses, permits, and approvals. And whereas the Act provides the provision of the municipality utility services subject to the terms, costs, or charges established by council, and whereas the Safety Codes Act, RSA 2000, Chapter S1, as amended from time to time, authorizes an accredited municipality to make bylaws respecting fees for services provided pursuant to the Safety Codes Act, and whereas the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, RSA 2000, Chapter F25, as amended from time to time, the FOIP Act, authorizes a local public body to, by bylaw, set any fees the local public body requires to be paid under the FOID Act, which must not exceed the fees provided for in the regulations. Now therefore, it be resolved that Town Council of the Town of Vegreville in the Province of Alberta, duly assembled, enacted as follows. Short title. This bylaw may be cited as 2022 Fees and Charges Bylaw. Definitions. In this bylaw, the Act means the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M26 as amended. Bylaw means this fees and charges bylaw established by the municipality. Council means the duly elected council of the Town of Vegreville. Town is the municipal corporation of the Town of Vegreville. Provisions. 3.1. The fees and charges contained in this attached schedules A to W inclusive are hereby established and are subject to the applicable taxes where appropriate. 3.2. Where this bylaw establishes a fee that also exists in another bylaw or policy that predates the effective date of this bylaw, the fee in this bylaw shall be the applicable fee and the other bylaw or policy is hereby effectively amended. 3.3. The rates, fees, and charges for municipal services provided by the town shall be outlined in the following schedules attached to and forming part of this bylaw. I, Schedule A, Administrative Fees. Schedule B, Airport Fees and Charges. Schedule C, Aquatic Fees and Charges. Schedule D, Arena Admission Fees and Charges. Schedule E, Building Permit Fees and Charges. Schedule F, Business License Fees and Charges. Schedule G, Campground Fees and Charges. Schedule H, Cemetery Fees. Schedule I, Criminal Record and Live Scan Fees. Schedule J, Dog Fees and Charges. Schedule K, Fire Fees and Charges. Schedule L, FOIP Fees. Schedule M, Labor, Equipment, and Vehicle Rental Rates. Schedule N, Library Complex Rental Fees and Charges. Schedule O, Multiplex Facility Fees and Charges. Schedule P, Municipal Enforcement Fees and Charges. Schedule Q, Planning and Development Fees. Schedule R, Signage Permit Fees. Schedule S, Snow Haul Permit Fees. Schedule T, Social Center Facility Fees and Charges. Schedule U, Solid Waste Fees. Schedule V, Utility Fees and Charges. Schedule W, Event Center Facility Fees and Charges. 4, Repeal. 4.1, Bylaw 13-2020 is hereby repealed. 5, Effective Date. 5.1, this bylaw shall come into effect January 1st, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Saskia. Take a motion for the first reading. Okay, we'll go with Councilor Curtis on this one. All those in favor? Carried. Motion for the second reading. Councilor Warwa, thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Take a motion for unanimous consent. Councilor Berry, right up your alley. Good job. All in favor? Carried. And a motion for the third and final reading. Councilor Lemko. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you very much. Good thing we didn't have any more charges and fees. We'd run the letters in the alphabet, eh? Okay. Up next is going to be council reports. And we'll start with Councilor Berry, that end, and I'm gonna ask Councilor Rudick to chair the meeting while I take a short break.
Thank you, Your Worship. On November 23rd, I attended the Museum Board final AGM, which dissolved, and everything now is moving forward to start working towards a new Society for Historical Association. 25th, our final budget meeting. On the 30th, I was part of Vermilion River Watershed webinar called Stories of Stewardship. And maybe at another point in time, I'll be able to reference that a little bit more. We had done a video for it as an opening to it, with myself and a few others participating in it. And then this webinar, those landowners that were part of it, we have more detail of the work that they actually did that fenced off watersheds or put off-site watering, etc., all part of the Emerald Award that we obtained for that project. On December the 3rd, our board meeting for Vermilion River Watershed Alliance, and I'm continuing to stay on as president of that association. On December the 7th, ledge meeting, and tonight's public hearing and regular council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Berry. I will go next to Councillor Bullock.
Okay, so on November 24th, Cal's board meeting, joined by councillors, also joined with presenting plaques to different businesses by Councillor Barry and Curtis, to Crave Appetit and Lucille's Antiques. November 25th, our budget meeting. November 26th, joined in your worship, Mayor McPhee and Councillors Lemko and Rudick and Curtis for the presentations to some more businesses in town. December 1st, attended plaque presentations to Extreme Power Products, Ruben Wellness, and New Earth Oil. December 2nd, Vegreville District Chamber of Commerce meeting. December 3rd, attended webinar media training for newly elected officials. December 7th, our legislative committee meeting. December 8th, Vegreville and District Chamber of Commerce general meeting. And I don't know if you're all aware that the chamber manager will be resigning and moving on to different job. I'd like to thank her for doing a great job with the chamber as well. So Michelle will be missed. December 12th, completed the MEO Online Alberta Emergency Management Agency course. And tonight's public hearing bylaw 07-2021 and tonight's council meeting.
Thank you very much. Councillor Warba.
November 23rd, just a follow-up from our last, we had said that we would be reaching out to Emily Armstrong Hominick's office just to ask her some of the plans for the Alberta Works and if there was anything for the homelessness that could be reported back. So Councillor Curtis and I had Emily Hominick's office reach back out to us and offered to have a meeting. So we had a Zoom meeting with her and sort of had some discussions on that. We discussed a little bit about the fact that the province had just announced some of their homelessness strategy and that some of the closest locations would essentially be like Lloyd Minister, that Vegreville wasn't specifically named in there. So our MLA put us in touch with two different groups to speak to, one through Alberta Works just to get some updates, and as well for initiatives that the group might be looking for through the Hope Missions. So we did that on the 23rd. From November 24th to December 13th, I was involved in various CEO recruitment meetings. On the 25th, I had the budget meeting. Then I took a little hiatus, which I just looked at in my calendar here, and was just out of country slightly. And December 4th was a legislative meeting. December 9th, we had an opportunity to meet with one of the people that Emily Hominick had put us in touch with, and that was some information we were sharing with the board that is doing the homelessness. And December 13th, today's council and public hearing. That's it.
Thank you very much. Councillor Rudick.
Thank you very much. Since we last met, I've had a number of meetings for FCM, but I'll just draw attention to our board meetings held virtually, or I attended virtually November 24th and 25th, and a document that we've been sharing with all federal parties and all elected officials at the federal level. And it's Partners for Canada's Recovery, Municipal Solutions for the 44th Parliament. So there are a number of things that are coming out hopefully before the budget, and we'll continue to advocate, as this table may understand, that local governments are on the front lines of daily life and commerce. We own 60% of Canada's public infrastructure, and depending on the minute of the day, we receive approximately 8 cents on the dollar for taxes that are collected. So it's a big task and a big burden, and we continue to advocate to the federal government to ensure that we're properly covered, because we cover a range of topics, even tonight, everything from varmints to fees and charges and everything in between. We've got a heavy burden and a big responsibility in communities of all sizes across the country. So continue to advocate on that front. November 25th, budget meeting, and November 26th, business presentations. I want to again draw attention to the fact that businesses and the public are very happy to see council out encouraging the local business community, so I'm happy to see those continuing. November 28th, we had a meeting, the 27th was my first meeting for Northern Lights Library Systems, and I thank you very much, Councillor Berry. You prepared me well. It's a comprehensive group of attendees, and I think this board is, as well as many municipal seats across the province, has about 50% turnover because about 50% of elected officials have changed due to retirements as well as changes in successful mayors, councillors, and reeves. So a lot of people that I was not familiar with. One thing I would draw attention to there, as they were looking at their operating budget, one of the things that have changed as a positive result of COVID is that their overall costs have had a 5% savings due to doing their meetings online. So it has provided some opportunities. As much as we find it difficult to meet online, it does allow for some facility for the vast number of councillors that would be attending these meetings. I look forward to seeing what else we do on that board. On November 28th, had my first meeting for the MD of Minburn Foundation. Again, great to be able to join a new board and see the good work that was done there by my colleagues previously. So thank you very much to Councillor Berry again and former Councillor Waters on that board. There is a new chair for that committee, and it's Councillor, thank you, Jim Jackson from Manville will be the councillor that will be chairing that board for the upcoming term. November 30th, subdivision appeal board, and November 30th also attend the RCMP town hall with some of our elected officials here as well as our local law enforcement. Legislative committee meeting on December 7th, chamber meeting with the Alberta Chamber Chair Ken Colbley, and great again to be able to see the relationship between our local chamber and the provincial chapter and see some of the impacts of that relationship. Also did Northern Lights and the Public Library Systems Board orientation on December 8th. Some more FCM meetings and digital self-defense webinar, tonight's public hearing and council meeting, and that is my report.
Thank you very much. Councillor Curtis.
Yeah, we'll start out November 24th. We did a bunch of plaques sent out to the new businesses of town. I know some people are saying, well, they're not that new anymore, but due to COVID, we kind of had to take a break on that. So now we're back in full force handing those out. So I'll just go over some of the ones that we handed out to. So we have North Star Auto, Sug Inc., Pet Value, Fuse Liquor, 7 Star, as well as Value Buds and Range Road Spin, the ones that I have here on my list. So that was great. Everybody seems to be happy we're getting out and recognizing as we should for businesses, you know, opening up in this town and supporting this town. Next up for me, we had, I'm not sure if this was the last one, but we had our budget meeting on the 27th, I have written down in here. Next up, we had our ledge meeting on the 7th, and then I did have the meeting, the Hope Mission meeting with Councillor Warwa, which was good to get us in touch with Bruce, who was going to help our FCSS group out as far as trying to find places for some of the homeless that are in town, facilitate getting them back to possibly places where they came from, where there's more support and family, and some familiar surroundings for them. So that's good to hear. And then we have today's public hearing and our council meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Lumpko.
Thanks, Your Worship. I have a number of dates that I'll summarize a lot of what's going on the 23rd, 26th, the 1st and 2nd of December. I, along with other council members and Your Worship, attended plaque presentations, and it was fun to be part of that, as well as to be in the businesses that we were presenting plaques to. As a member of the CEO Recruitment Committee, been involved in CEO interviews the 24th, the 25th, and December 9th, as we narrow down the pool of applicants. I did have a Go East of Edmonton AGM November 30th, Minburn Foundation meeting on the 29th that Councillor Rudick alluded to, as I'm part of that committee as well. December 7th, the Ledge meeting, the Chamber of Commerce General meeting via Zoom. It was interesting to listen to the presenter from the Chamber, Ken Cobley. Tonight's public hearing and tonight's council meeting. The summary.
Thank you very much. So since our last regular meeting, I've been in on the CAO interviews. We've done, I think, 7 so far, and everything's going fairly good there. We had our budget meeting on the 25th. The 30th, I was in on the RCMP Town Hall, the virtual town hall that they had. I attended the December 1st Alberta Hub meeting, and it was virtual as well. And on the 2nd, we taped a little video with the RCMP and myself promoting safe holidays when drinking and driving and stuff in town. So it was nice to work with Corporal Stack again. And I too have been in a lot of the plaque presentations to all these other businesses and stuff. A couple that Councillor Curtis didn't bring up was Friesen's new store and Be Kind Yoga and Terry Stroshin, what was his business? New Earth, yeah. We did that one, and we also did the Kubota dealer too. And so we've been slowly catching up on those, and I know that the businesses do appreciate it. So I taped Talk of the Town on December the 3rd. On December the 6th, we had a meeting between Sandra and Bob, our Economic Development Manager, and myself regarding the new AcDev board that we're putting together. We're just putting some structure to how it's going to look and how it's going to roll out. And hopefully we'll get that first meeting up and running here just before Christmas, and we'll all get together and talk about how that's going to look. And I attended coffee on the 8th upstairs with our outgoing CAO, Cliff, and the staff, and they had cupcakes. I didn't get a cupcake, but it was a very light, entertaining coffee break. I'll tell you, there was lots of laughing and stuff going on, so it was nice. We did a lot more interviews. I had last Thursday on the 9th also the John S. Batouk Water Commission, and tonight's meetings. So that's what I've been up to. So that being said, that's all we have on the agenda for right now. Is there any other business of council that somebody would like to bring forward? Go right ahead, Councillor Rowa.
Hi, this isn't a big one. I just wanted to bring up a little bit about, we've spoken a number of times on our last couple of meetings about homelessness task force. So just wanted to kind of bring it forward just to kind of let everyone know this isn't an actual council board. It's not something that we sit on as council members. So the Homelessness Task Force is an FCSS initiative that was an interdepartmental initiative. So it was driven by an initiative of priorities that was set by various FCSSs through the region. And one of their top priorities was homelessness. So with that, they had a meeting. It would have been during our election time, so none of us were involved in the first ones. And then they invited Councillor Curtis and myself forward. So we did come to those meetings, and it was good for us to listen in and hear some information. But I just want to bring it forward because we've talked about it a little bit, but so that everyone knew our role within it. It isn't an actual board or a board that we're sitting on. We will be invited to attend and listen in, but it is an outreach board that's supposed to be driven from the community within. And right now, our FCSS is acting as the facilitator for the meetings which are being done via Zoom. So I just kind of wanted to let everyone know where we are at that. There isn't going to be, at this time, there isn't like a chair or anything where we're sitting as a board position. So we may keep being able to go, but there isn't an expectation automatically of attending. But if we do, we'll get information, we'll keep bringing it back, and if that changes, we'll bring it to council for decision. But I want to let them know about that. And just two quick things that have come from that. I referenced earlier, and so did Councillor Curtis, that we had met with the MLA. So one of the things from that MLA discussion, they had put us in touch with a contact from Alberta Works, and also I had done a little bit of a conversation that happened at the AUMA when I asked that question of Minister McIver. So I did want to let everyone know that he did get back to me, and they actually reviewed some of the questions we had, and they said they thought that they would pass it through the finance minister and also through Minister Luan with the community social services. So I did just get an email back I wanted to let council know about. So in regards to that, I know we've discussed a couple of times about the fact that have some concerns with the downloading of services on the municipality, with seeing the Alberta Works offices closed. So Minister Luan did come back to me. However, I am going to tell you that the answer that they got was no answer. They literally came back with an email just today that said that they take COVID very seriously and will open when safe. Now, I still find that infuriating because it leaves me on two sides. I mean, if you've put up recommendations that not only allowed you to speak at an AUMA with 500 people, but also allow our FCSS to open and take part in helping facilitate your role, are we saying that we're letting our FCSS operate unsafely as a province, or are we saying, like, I don't quite know what lane they're landing in there? So I was disappointed because we still have no indication of when those offices will be open. The other thing was there was some questions brought forward in regards to the ability for local MLA's offices, et cetera, to open, and that isn't going to be through the municipal affairs with Minister McIver. It was direction of the Speaker's office. So I just thought I would update everyone with those. There was an indication they'll be getting some more information. So when I do get those, I'll bring it forward. But that was just a little bit of the things we've been talking about quite a bit. And as far as the Homelessness Task Force, I can tell you that I'm very glad that we've spoken about it on here, because I've also had a couple of people reach out that wanted their names passed forward to the FCSS, also from the community, that said they would like to be involved. And the last thing about that was just in our discussion with Bruce from the Hope Mission, they really did break down that these issues need to be looked at on two sides. One is identifying whether what part of your community is concerned with homelessness that's attached to your community, and what part of your community is dealing with homelessness that are people passing through. So more like your transient passing through. And they did identify that their approach, or their recommendation for approach, typically would be short-term winter focus on what can be done right now for people with roots and ties to the town, versus if they are able to identify people that are typically passing through or not connected with the community, and then steps in which you can reach to get them to another location, one that's currently providing services. So I thought it was a really good conversation, but just kind of wanted everyone to know that that's sort of where it's at. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that was one of the topics in the RCMP Town Hall too, is a lot of people with needs and mental health issues and drug-related issues are in our town that have no connection to our town, and how are we going to address this? And again, Minister Luan, I had a conversation with him regarding this. They're promoting these people to come to our community by moving them here because our rent is cheaper, and they're just downloading a lot of problems into our municipality. And I'm sorry to hear that they wouldn't agree to open their offices for the most vulnerable people in our community. That's, again, I don't understand their direction there, but I guess we'll just have to live with it, because we've asked that question many times of why Alberta Services cannot open these offices that are directly needed and to the citizens are in our community. But
I guess I just should say to you on that, one of the things that surprised me was, and Councillor Curtis, you heard this probably as well in our conversations with them, was that the minister's email indicated that people could still reach out and contact their local Alberta Works between the hours of, and it gave the hours from Monday to Friday. But unfortunately, there does need to be a follow back up with the minister, just a polite reply, but letting him know that, in fact, that isn't accurate, because the people who are contacting to the local are still being directed to that Edmonton number. So his suggestion from Monday to Friday that while you can't walk in, you could still contact, it's not actually accurate. It isn't accurate, and it's not accurate only from what we're hearing. We're physically having people from our FCSS have people come in that are needing to use the telephone. They're sitting beside them. They've seen it firsthand. When they do actually get through, which sometimes is after a long period of time, that's still, the phone number is still directed to the city. So unfortunately, even the minister's information wasn't fully accurate.
Okay. Again, just another struggle. Counselor Barry?
Thank you, Your Worship. On a lighter note, I believe this is our last council meeting of the year. And so I think that maybe it's a little different because of COVID. This is our second year that we're not able to go to the seniors' houses and hand out and hand out oranges and have coffee with them, which I kind of miss. And the second year that we won't be able to actually be with our staff for a Christmas party. So I know myself, and I'm quite certain going to be echoed here very quickly by all members, that to our own staff, you're greatly appreciated. I think we understand the work and the workloads that you're asked to do, and we appreciate that. And we'd like you to have the best of season greetings. Thank you.
Okay, so upcoming events, on the December 21st will be the Santa Claus Tour on the north side of town, and on the 22nd, it'll be on the south side of town, running it 2 nights this year, so Santa doesn't have to speed through the zones, through the residential zones. So, and again, I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas on behalf of the staff and the council of the town of Vegreville. At that, I adjourn this meeting at 8:22.